It's a rematch for region. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Muenster Football Show, right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media, as the Munsters finally shake off Albany, beating them 56-14, as the Hornets jump out early, jump out often, and get a monkey off the back. As Albany had beaten Muenster the last 2 years, and, last year was such a frustrating game where Muenster outplayed Albany in so many areas of the game, but just a couple turnovers at the wrong time. And of course, Albany, they're great. They're a great program as they went on to win their second state championship, but Muenster ends that reign. And now you get the Collinsville Pirates once again. Of course, this game ended, or what was it? 2 weeks, the second to the last week of district play, and Muenster won 34-20. And it's really funny because my other show is Brock versus Graham, and they're flipped. I do the Brock show, and it's flipped because Graham's the one that won in the exact same week. And so it's kind of cool that we've got this juxtaposition of one of my coaches' shows, Muenster, they're the team that won last time, and then the other one, Brock, they're the team that lost. How do they adjust? And we'll talk to Coach Carney about that, just like we did for Brock. And, how as the winning team, do you do what you do well, but also make sure you do enough adjustments so that you're not just showing them the exact same thing? Because as he'll say, Collinsville's way too good to just come out and say, okay, we're going to play the exact same way we did last time, and we'll beat them. Collinsville's going to have their adjustments as well. And so this is where that chess match begins between two great coaches and two great programs with Muenster and Collinsville. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it is the head coach of the Hornets, Coach Brady Carney, right here on the Muenster Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. Terry Bennett back here on the Muenster Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Hornets, Coach Brady Carney. And, Coach, congratulations. You finally get Albany off your back with the big win. What were your thoughts on the game?
Man, I thought first off, we've been playing well, and we continued that. But like I've been telling you all year, we've been able to run the football against most people, and we were able to do that the other night, which we have not been able to do the last 4 or 5 years against Albany. We were able to run the football with success. I think we ran it 51 times for, 350-something yards. So that helps out tremendously. We only threw it 6 times. We completed 5 of them for 2 touchdowns. So them having to load the box helps us out in the back end as far as completing passes too. Very efficient in what we were doing. Defensively, again, it goes back to up front. We were able to stop the run. Held the Bill kid to maybe 50 yards on 15 carries and 1 touchdown, where he's been averaging probably 4 touchdowns a game and 150 yards, And when they put it in the air when they had to, we made some plays, had a couple picks, and we've been playing really well on special teams too. So, man, we've been clicking on in all 3 phases of the game, and hopefully that continues this week.
Well, and to be fair, in last year's game, y'all played them defensively the best that anybody had probably played Albany in a couple of years. So this kind of felt like a continuation of that.
Yeah, and again, they're not the same team. They lost quite a bit, but they do have a very talented young man in the Bill kid in the back end, and we've seen him since he was a sophomore. Now he's just the bell cow, and we knew we had to stop him. But yeah, totally different team. Not what they have been up front, and enough about football. You got to be solid up front on both sides, and I think that's where they're probably lacking the most. And of course, not having Adam back there, the heel kid, to carry the load hurts. But at the same time, the Bill kid was very, very talented young man. I'm sure Coach Faith will tell you the same thing, man. They're just lacking a little bit up front on both sides.
Well, it's an 8-2A Division II rematch. It's your old friend, the Collinsville Pirates. Y'all won the first one 34-20. You and I were kind of talking before we started recording. As a coach, when you're in a rematch, how do you balance trying to do what you did that was successful in the first game, but also wanting to change it up so they're not expecting what you did in the first game?
Yeah, I think you were talking about the guy, Coach Matthew Brock, overanalyzing things. And as a coach, sometimes you do that probably. we just went back and watched the game film the first time we played and did see some things that they probably could have hurt us on. Hopefully the same thing Coach Patterson maybe sees on film that we've adjusted to, but there were some times that we put ourselves in a bind last time that we saw on film, and hopefully we can get that worked out on the defensive side. And then offensively, again, some things you see that you can make slight adjustments that may help you out a little bit. But I think the main thing, like Coach Massey said out of Brock, you can't overcoach, can't overanalyze things, man. We were on the opposite end of those guys, of course. They got beat by Graham, but we beat Collinsville. So we just got to come out and figure out what they're going to try to do to us that they didn't do the first time. Whether that's throw the football more or spread us out more, get us an empty more, whatever it may be. We got to figure it out and hopefully make our adjustments. And hopefully we have made some adjustments to be better off defensively. And offensively, man, it's one of those things. They're the toughest team we played all year, I think, to run the ball against. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they're going to load the box and try to take that away from us. So we're going to have to be successful when we put the ball in the air. The one thing that I do feel like we are really peaking at the right time is on our special team side. Maverick Byers done an exceptional job fielding punts and returning punts, and we've had a kickoff return for a touchdown in the playoffs. Very solid on our kickoff here lately. So all the little things we've been doing well. I do think we've improved upon since the first time we played.
Well, and I know it's very cliche to say it, but when you get to this far into the playoffs, and then when you're playing a team that you know well and a team that is as good as Collinsville, it is the little things like special teams and third down conversions that's probably going to decide the game.
Yeah, third down conversion, special teams, and turnovers. There's going to be 4 or 5 kind of plays out there during the game that can turn the game, and hopefully they go in our favor, and hopefully we're the ones that are making those plays. But, yeah, you get to this round and teams that are – I feel like 2A Division II is kind of equaled out, you know, however you look at it all over the state of Texas. And you get to this point, there's not a team that stands out probably that's just being the totally dominant team. You get 2 teams playing each other this time of the year that are 2 solid programs. And, man, it's just like you said, it's going to come down to special teams. It's going to come down to third down conversions, and it's going to come down to turnovers. Whatever 4 or 5 big plays happen during the game, hopefully they happen in our favor.
And how's practice been this week?
Man, it's been good. We've gotten after it. It's that time of the year we don't really have to motivate kids to practice.
Yeah.
If you're playing football in December, I think they motivate themselves. They're kind of getting to where they set their goals to be, and their focus is where it needs to be each and every day. It's not something you have to harp on anymore. It's not 110 degrees outside, and it's not a game that really doesn't matter. It's a game that means everything. So these guys have been focused the last few weeks, and we've continued to do that this week in practice.
Do you have a kid that plays sports? Are you yourself a weekend warrior? Then I'm going to tell you something. Check out NeuroGuardPlus.com. That's NEURO GuardPlus.com. It's a mouthpiece that can not only help with concussions, but can dramatically affect the way you perform. And the mission of NeuroGuard is to, of course, reduce the risk of suffering a concussion when participating in any contact sport, military, anything that you're doing physical that you could take a blow to the head. You might want to put in a NeuroGuard mouth guard. And as I said, it not only helps eliminate concussions, it helps you perform better by simply aligning your jaw properly. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but it is so important because it allows oxygen to get to your brain. And when you get oxygen to the brain, you don't have that fog of sports or that fog of war where you get confused. And if you've ever played football, that's a sport where that can happen. Especially, man, you're in there in the trenches and you take a shot to the side and all of a sudden things are spinning. This mouth guard will help you keep focus by, again, simply keeping oxygen going to your brain 100%. Again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com. And if you play sports, if you have a kid that plays sport, if you do something physical, one of the things that Dr. Hutchinson, the creator of this, was talking about was some people will use it when they're doing yard work and when they're mowing and things like that, where they're being physically active because they know it helps align their jaw and it keeps oxygen going to the brain, which also helps your lungs, by the way, when you can have full breath every time as you're performing. So again, check them out, NeuroGuardPlus.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room and help with balance when I'm on the baseball.
As always, we want to thank the coach, Brady Carney, for joining us here on the Muenster Football Show. I do apologize for the last couple of weeks, the show not being on the air. Just been one of those years. As I was talking with Coach about it, just, football doesn't always stop for life like we want it to. It is nice when it happens like that, and usually it does, but every few years you get one of those years where things just happen, and that's been one of those. But that doesn't matter now. What matters now is this region final. This is going to be a good one. I really feel like both teams have improved since they played 2 months ago, or a month ago, excuse me. It'll be almost a month ago to the day. It'll be about 5 days. I think it was the November 1st week, if I remember correctly, that Muenster beat Collinsville. So it's going to be a fun one. I like Muenster's chances. I feel like they're a better team. And as long as Muenster doesn't go out and turn the ball over or weird things happen, and hey, it's the playoffs, man, weird things happen. Look at just the upsets. And we say this every year, but just look at the upsets through the state, especially that round 2, like in 4A where Austin LBJ got beat. I mean, Austin LBJ was a prohibitive favorite in the division to at least win their region. And then the team that they were supposed to battle in that region, they got beat as well. And Cal Allen, you got Lavernia versus Bay City in that region. So, weird things can always happen when it comes to the playoffs, but I really do like Muenster's chances. Now, if they win, of course, we'll be back next week. If they lose, we'll do a recap show probably the week after the state championship games. But I have a funny feeling we'll be talking next week here. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments for next week, email me, Terry at S2SSport.com. And until next time, this has been the Muenster Hornet Football Show right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.